Max Weber, one of the two great sociologists of the 20th century, revealed one of the most disturbing truths about modernity, the paradox between freedom and control. As modern societies proclaim individual freedom as one of their highest values, they simultaneously create complex systems of control that limit that freedom in subtle and invisible ways. Weber observed that modernity, with the advance of rationality and bureaucracy, establishes a social order based on rules, norms, and imprison structures that, guaranteeing organization and efficiency, also restricts individual autonomy. This tension between freedom and control is central to understanding the functioning of contemporary societies and the dilemmas we face. Weber's analysis explains that formal freedom, guaranteed by laws and regulations, can coexist with intense control and invisible imprisonment through bureaucracy and rationalization. This grim truth challenges the autonomist view that modernity liberates us, showing that, in practice, we are often prisoners of a system that controls our actions, thoughts, and even feelings. One of Max Weber's greatest contributions was the analysis of bureaucracy as the main instrument of control in modern societies. The bureaucracy, with its hierarchical structure, rigid rules, and standardized procedures, was designed to guarantee efficiency and predictability. Therefore, it also functions as a subtle mechanism of domination and limitation of individual freedom. No bureaucratic system, no individual loses his prominence and becomes an executor of imposed norms. The logic of impessoality demands that everyone submit to the rules, regardless of their personal wishes or needs. This creates an environment where freedom is formally guaranteed, but practically restricted. Furthermore, bureaucracy creates a sense of inevitability, where people feel that we cannot escape the structures that govern their lives. This invisible control manifests itself in daily routine, in administrative processes, and in the same way as people think and behave. Weber saw this form of control as one of the greatest advantages of modernity because it imprisons the human being in a system that values order and efficiency above autonomy and creativity. Max Weber expresses Gaiola de Ferro to reveal the paradoxical situation in which the modern individual finds himself, imprisoned by rational structures that guarantee order, but rather limit his freedom in a profound and invisible way. Within this gaiola, the rules, routines, and bureaucratic systems create a prison that is not seen, but that controls behaviors, decisions, and thoughts. Freedom becomes limited not by physical currents, but by social norms and institutions that shape daily life. This metaphor reveals the shadowy face of rationalization. At the same time that it organizes and makes society efficient, it reduces the human being to a gear within an impessoal system, where autonomy is sacrificed in the name of control. The challenge is that this prison is difficult to be perceived, because it is naturalized and justified by the discourse of progress, efficiency, and social order. Thus, many of us live imprisoned without knowing, oiling a formal freedom that does not translate into real freedom. Weber highlighted a crucial distinction to understand the paradox of modern freedom, the difference between formal freedom and real freedom. Formal freedom refers to the legal rights and guarantees that ensure the autonomy of the functioning individual or the state and other institutions. Real freedom means respect for the individual's effective capacity to act, think, and decide for himself. In modernity, there has been a significant expansion of formal freedom, with civil, political, and social direitos, and real freedom often compromised by the bureaucratic, economic, and social structures that control and regulate the behavior of people. This dilemma shows that having guaranteed rights on paper does not necessarily mean having the freedom to fully exercise your will. Weber warns that a rationalized system can profoundly restrict real freedom, creating a distance between the legal ideal and social practice. In Weber's view, calculation techniques are essential elements in the construction of a modern control system. Instrumental rationality, which valorizes efficiency and optimization, is the guiding principle of social, economic, and political institutions. This type of rationality transforms the mios em fins, or seja, in search of efficiency becomes the main objective, independently of the two human and ethical values involved. The calculation and technique reduce the human being to a technical problem to be solved, obscuring the subjective and moral dimension of the present. Modern control is not just political or legal, but technological and administrative. Decisions are made based on standardized data, norms, and procedures that limit individual autonomy, creating a sophisticated and impessable form of domination. Despite the invisible prison of rationality and control, Weber does not suggest that freedom is completely lost. He credits that critical conscientia, and reflex are the main weapons to resist the domination of bureaucracy and extreme rationalization. Autonomy is not an acquired given, but a process that requires constant vigilance against the forces that seek to standardize and control. Cultivate critical thinking, value subjectivity, and seek spaces for personal expression and ways to preserve real freedom. Resistance can manifest itself in art, in philosophy, in spirituality, and in the practice of ethics, allowing the individual to recover their uniqueness and meaning within oppressive systems. Max Weber's thoughts on freedom and control remain an essential warning for contemporary society. It invites us to reconfirm that modernity, at the same time as it promotes formal freedom, has built complex control systems that provide us with real autonomy. This legacy is called for permanent vigilance and a search for a balance between order and freedom, rationality and humanity. Bureaucracy is rationalization only powerful instruments that can both organize and imprison. The challenge for the individual and for society is not to passively oil this iron gaiola, but to resist through critical thinking, creativity, and valorization of two spaces where freedom can flourish. Thus, Weber's somber truth is also an invitation to hope. Freedom is possible since we are aware of two mechanisms that we are only willing to confront.